Kiyan Sobhani from Managing Madrid. You had said a few weeks ago that you had found a solution to the team's problems. And obviously in the last two games, the team has looked much better. And Courtois and Lunin haven't had to face a shot on goal. So you've been able to limit the transition opportunities. Jude earlier was saying that it's the attention to details that have made a difference. So I'm curious to know what you think those attention to details are. Is it a matter the team had more control? And is that something you can replicate against a better team tomorrow?
I think the difference was that we were able in the last two games to play with more compact together, with the collective effort, sacrifice, and that was, I think, the key. And it will be the key tomorrow and also in the last games, the next games.
Nice article in the Managing Madrid blog. Wonderful lads that do a great job there. And worth reading about that man there. Karim Benzema needs to rest, and the numbers reveal why.
Times ended up almost looking like a 6-3-1. Some very good writing about that on the Managing Madrid website. First rate podcast as well. Of course, Fede Valverde was a huge part of the equation.
What's up, guys? Kiyan Sobhani, Managing Madrid Podcast, live from Anfield. As you can see, the Real Madrid players are training right now. What you saw at the beginning of the clip was Ancelotti's response to me about attention to detail in the last two games. So I put that at the beginning of this podcast. And if you're listening to this on Spotify or Apple, don't worry, you're not missing much. But if you're on YouTube, you get a special, quick, 10-second glimpse of Anfield empty, calm before the storm. Tomorrow it's going to be rocking. It's going to be magical. This is my second time here. The first time was 2023, the 5-2. What an incredible night that was for obvious reasons. And really excited for tomorrow. You'll never walk alone in person. Just magical, incredible. You can never actually explain it. No matter how many videos you watch of it, how many times you listen to it online, in person, it's just unbelievable. I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about it. So tomorrow will be amazing. Quick bonus glimpse of Real Madrid players training. Gonna go back inside because it's cold and get you some more analysis on tomorrow's game. All right, I got kicked out of Anfield. I took too long to do my stuff, and they said, sorry, time's up. So I'm back at my hotel now. So here's some quick fire thoughts about today and the last week and what's coming tomorrow. I always like to kind of give you guys a glimpse behind the veil in terms of what's being said at these press conferences. As you guys may know, when it comes to attending the Real Madrid games as press and training sessions as press, there is no wasted movement from me. I'm always talking to people. I'm always kind of moving around, getting people's thoughts. I'm always trying to network as much as I can. And I just thought it was interesting that from the Real Madrid side, there was a lot of confidence in terms of the fact that, Real Madrid have beaten Liverpool. How many times is it? I don't remember the exact number. I can try to do the math quickly, but I should know the number. I guess there was 2 Champions League finals and then 4 knockout ties. Is that 6? Am I getting that correct? Either way, the last time we lost to Liverpool, it's been 2009 when they waxed us 4-0. One of the most actually traumatizing nights of my life, watching that team get demolished, and 4-0 was actually quite flattering for us. If it's not for Casillas that night, it would have been much worse. So it's been a while. Virgil van Dijk saying in his interview with who was it? I'm not entirely sure, but he was talking about how he's never beaten Real Madrid before. And I always like to try to play devil's advocate in these situations. And I remember we had a similar feeling as a collective heading into that game in 2023 when we were down 2-0 and then we won 5-2. There was a lot of we're Real Madrid. Doesn't, even if we don't play well, this is the champions, this is our trophy, we'll step up. And I always at least out of respect for Liverpool, always said that, look, Liverpool they're not Real Madrid, but they're about as close as you can get to Real Madrid when it comes to Champions League DNA. It's between them and Milan, right? And so they have the historical backing and they have the historical pedigree in this competition to also be in that situation where they can not play at their best and find a way to win in the Champions League. And of course, we blew them away that night, and it started very differently, and it ended very differently. And this time around, that aside, all the historical stuff aside, if we're just looking at these two teams in a vacuum, Liverpool are arguably the best team in Europe right now based on pure form. Mohamed Salah, who has been in the media in the last 24 hours because of his quote, and he's saying that I'm more out and in because I haven't been offered a contract. By the way, just a quick note on that, and maybe Liverpool sorted out anyway, so it's like a moot point, but this is more of a general point. I've always been a firm believer that you should treat your legends with the utmost respect. To me, and I'm more sentimental than others in this situation, and I think others would counter it by saying you're a little bit too nice. You should be more ruthless. This is a business. You need to do what's best for the club. I've always leaned on the other end of the spectrum, which is take care of your legends. It actually matters. It means a lot. It matters for your reputation. It matters that you should do the right thing. You should take care of these guys as much as you possibly can. And so, I mean, if I were running Liverpool, it would be a no-brainer. And I mean, in Mohamed Salah's case, yeah, he's not under 30, but he also looks like he's not slowing down. He takes incredible care of his body, and he is still elite. So, I also understand the fact that it's difficult to navigate contracts to players over 30, and that's why Real Madrid tend to do one-year contract renewals. I understand that part of it too. So either way, I think it was just surprising to hear that he hasn't been offered anything and they haven't had conversations about it. So I was just bringing up Salah because he's in great form, a terrorizing winger who just puts up numbers and is very difficult to stop. Liverpool have a really good thing going on this year, and they have a great coach in the Arne slot, and it's incredible to see that kind of continuation after the Jurgen Klopp era. So kudos to them. And Real Madrid are in a situation where they're just really, really struggling. And everything is relative. And the last two games have been good. That's been encouraging. And that's part of the reason why I asked that question to Carlo at the beginning of the show. You heard it. And Carlo didn't reveal much. He tends not to reveal much. And it was interesting. And actually, this is a good segue because Real Madrid, who are struggling, to bring it back full circle, are just not on Liverpool's level right now. But of course, we know their ceiling is to beat anyone, anytime, anywhere, even without Vinicius. But it is going to be just really difficult. No Vinny, no Rodrigo, no 1 million defenders who are nursing ACL injuries. Yet still, they certainly have enough talent to beat anyone, even with the available players. I thought it was interesting how Arne Slot spoke about things more candidly in his pregame press conference, was more revealing about some of the tactical stuff. And I thought I would just read this answer he gave when someone asked him in the pregame press conference today whether or not Liverpool will change their approach to the Vinicius Jr. injury and how that changes things for them, how they initially were to approach it and how they'll approach it now without Vinicius. And in these situations, I think Carlo would be less revealing. He's not quite Zidane in terms of revealing nothing, but he also tries to be pretty diplomatic and political and keep it simple with his answers with regards to what he's planning and what he has up his sleeve. But when Slot was asked about this, he says, we definitely will approach it differently. We approach it differently because a new player is going to play for them with different qualities. We knew when Vinicius would have started, I had to prepare them for him and Mbappe and all the others. But they are probably the main attacking threat for them. Now, with him not playing, we have to expect something else. I think he played almost every game for Madrid, so it's, again, quite difficult for us now to understand what we can expect. But what we do know, what we can expect is 11 players with great quality, and we try to prepare them in the best way possible. Will Bellingham play as a 10? Will he play from the left? Will he play from the right? Will Endrick come in? Will Arda Güler start? They have so many options, which now is a bit more difficult for us to see what they're going to do. If Vinicius would have been fit, I think I've come up with their lineup, but now it's going to be a bit of a surprise for us, maybe. But the thing we do know is that we play 11 great players and a very good team. I have all the same questions that Arne Slot has. Is Bellingham going to be playing further up the field to compensate for not having Vinny or Rodrigo? If you do that, there are dominoes. Do Ceballos and Modric start together because Fede Valverde will be playing right back? Or if you're in a situation where like, no, I can't push Jude up and have Fede in midfield, do you rush Lucas Vasquez back? All these questions I have. The question of will Endrick start is pretty unrealistic to me, just given past precedents. So I'll pencil Endrick in maybe to come off the bench. But a bigger question is, will you go with a 4-4-2 with Mbappe and Vinny up and Brahim up top, or will you go with this funky like Goulier, Brahim, Mbappe thing, and maybe Brahim plays as a false nine? He's interchangeable with Mbappe, but much less congested with Vinny on that side because Vinny and Mbappe. I spoke about this in today's Churros y Tácticas podcast. Actually, that was maybe even a better preview than this actual episode. Diego and I spoke about some of the challenges that Real Madrid will have with tomorrow's game, and I'd urge you guys to go listen to that. Churros y Tácticas is more civil than it used to be, in case you tuned out. So if you want to go listen to that, you can. But I was talking to Diego about this, that like Vinny and Mbappe, although it's slowly trying to progress and reach a certain level of synergy, there is still a lot of confusion. And even in that last game against Leganes, there were times where Vinny and Mbappe would just almost take the ball off of each other because they were occupying the exact same zone. So it'll be really interesting to see how that gets navigated now with Mbappe being the focal part of the offense. Naturally, a lot of the ball progression will go through Jude, but the usage of Vinicius Jr. is so high in European football that like every possession has to go through him. And this is now Mbappe's chance. And it's a little bit harsh, but like you just no excuses now. Like if it's true that the positioning thing was a huge deal and you need to play on the left wing, which by the way, I've said many times, I firmly stand by this and I will die on this hill. It's not a positioning issue. It's a confidence issue. But now you get the left wing, you get more of the ball. Will you play outside of your head more now in this situation? I'm very curious to see. You see all these videos floating around of like Mbappe's last game at Anfield with PSG. He was such a menace. He was unstoppable. There was a clip that came up on my Instagram feed today, and it was just this insane dribble from Mbappe on the left wing in Liga. And I was like, holy shit, we haven't seen that version of Mbappe. I think there's been like 2-3 moments you're like, oh yeah, that's Kylian Mbappe. But it's been almost none of that. So I'll make this next point by preparing you guys for what I'm about to say. My preparation is for you guys not to take this the wrong way and just try your best to sympathize with what I'm trying to say here, okay? It's not easy to verbalize this, but I'm going to try. If it comes off incorrectly, I'm just apologizing in advance. It's never a good thing when players get injured. There is no silver lining. There is no blessing in disguise. It sucks. You want everyone to be healthy and happy. You don't want anyone to get hurt. And obviously, in no situation ever would you want to lose Vinicius and Rodrigo and Militao, etc. But throughout football history, some of the best discoveries have been because of emergency situations. Now we'll see where Raul Asensio lands like 1-2 years from now. Let's see how this develops. It's very early. It's 2 games. But he's just one example. Arne had a start last game and he's played really well. And now you're in the situation where, again, I'm trying to prepare you for what I'm about to say. Does the Vinny injury need to happen for Mbappe to get his shit together? We'll see. All I'm saying is that he has no excuses now, and he needs to use this opportunity to take on a more of an alpha leadership role and get on the ball and be more efficient and be more proactive, breaking lines, and just improve his finishing, because that also needs to happen. Bellingham was talking about it today in the press conference that like he's not worried about Mbappe, and he thinks the criticism is harsh, and he watches him in training today, or sorry, training every day, and he's blown away by what Mbappe does in training. So let's assume that that's the case, and the case is that Mbappe has not lost his talent, which seems reasonable to say, and he is cooking players in training, and there's something maybe deeper with him mentally that he just can't get it going consistently in game situations. Then hopefully this will be what he needs. um. So yeah, I guess I'll just kind of wrap my point there. This is a team that, even despite all the injuries, is loaded enough to even beat a Liverpool team like this, who do have their own issues, to be fair. It's not quite on the Real Madrid level, but even like, I saw Tsimikas was injured in training too, so I don't think he's going to play. So it'll be really interesting. And I just want to say a couple more points about this new Champions League format. So Ancelotti said today he doesn't know if Real Madrid will finish in the top 8 because they're already, 6 points dropped in this format. I was speaking to someone who works in for Liverpool today, and he was telling me that, he doesn't really care if Liverpool lose to Real Madrid tomorrow. He would really care if they lost Manchester City, because Liverpool have a bit of a week from hell. They have to play Real Madrid and Manchester City. And I was thinking about this a little bit too, because the margin of error is so large in this league format, this new Champions League format. It's kind of hard to get hyped the same way. I can't explain it. The group stages were not as consequential either, just like this new format. And remember, if for those of you guys who are members know, I was talking to Ewan about this, and he feels this new format is way, way less consequential than the old format. This one, you can literally sleepwalk and finish 24th and qualify. So I don't know. I feel like this new Champions League format is a little bit defanged in that sense, in terms of the hype and the consequential nature of the matches, even in big games against Liverpool. So that's just something I noted, and I've been thinking about, and I don't think UEFA is going to revert back to it, because they're adamant about, one-upping the Super League in any way, shape, or form. And I don't think this new format would have been accelerated and pushed forward if the Super League wasn't a thing. But yeah, it's just something that I also was thinking about before the season started. Like, how will Real Madrid do, a team that almost never repeats back-to-back league titles? They haven't done so consistently since the late 80s. So I was just kind of curious to see how they would do in a league format when there's less urgency in the European situation. So I don't know. It's not a definitive claim either way, but I do think that this version of the Champions League, there's just so much margin of error. It's hard to get up for every single game. With that being said, I don't know if there's anything else I wanted to get across. It's going to be a really busy day, and I wanted to keep this one shorter because I'm going to go eat. I'm starving. I've been fasting all day, and tomorrow's just a big day at Anfield. And also for you guys listening, and just a reminder, I mentioned this on quite a few podcasts in the build up to this, the biggest game of every month. So last month it was the Clasico. This month it's Anfield, Liverpool. We do those shows only for members. So I don't want you scrambling tomorrow night looking for the post-game show. Sign up as a member now. You get access to the monthly big game, post-game podcast. You get access to a million different episodes that we do, including mailbags with Lucas, big picture segments with Matt, and more. And starting December 1st, both Castilla and Blancas will only be for members. So make sure you go to patreon.com/Managing Madrid. You can use code BFMM for a special Black Friday discount, BFMM, upon checkout. And if you don't have Patreon in your country and you're watching this on YouTube, just simply hit the memberships tab on this YouTube channel, and we'll see you tomorrow night. You get a private link. You'll join us live. I'll be at Anfield. We'll have more of the crew on. We'll have Mehdi on. We'll have Sid on. And we're going to be breaking that game down tomorrow. So join us there. All right, guys, enjoy the rest of your Tuesday or Wednesday, wherever you are watching this. And I appreciate you. We'll see you tomorrow night. Kiyan Sobhani signing off from Liverpool. Peace out.